You can stare and stare and stare at this box. There is never enough capacity. But it's an essential part of character progression in Division 2. It's where we keep gear that's important to us for future builds. But if it's full, it's something we have to manage. How do we make smarter choices, knowing what to deconstruct and what to keep? While the term gear technically refers to the 6 items you wear on your character's body, many in the community use the term informally to refer to loot. Throughout your journey to advance and maximize your character, you'll come across weapons, gear items, gear mods, and skill mods of varying degrees of usefulness. At some point, and unfortunately, more often than not, we run out of capacity to keep everything. What should you do if our stash fills up and there's no space left? Even worse, what if your character inventory is full? You're going to frustrate players if they have to wait for you to first rummage through your backpack to find things to get rid of, to create space for new drops. I put this video together for those of you who are level 40 and beyond. There are both short-term fixes and long-term solutions to this issue. I want you to keep both in mind. You might be level 10,000 and beyond, but let's make sure you've left no stone unturned. Let's take a look at each of these. In this section, we'll cover the following short-term fixes. Perks, extending the stash maximum, and mules. I want to emphasize that these are intended only to be temporary fixes. If you only think short-term, you'll still limit yourself down the road, and you won't be able to achieve your character advancement goals properly. Bear that in mind, okay? All right, here goes. Perks. If your watch level is in the lower triple digits, then let's do a quick sanity check. First, make sure you visited Coop Dennison, the quartermaster at the base of operations. In the menu, select Perks, then verify that you've unlocked the perks necessary to increase your backpack inventory capacity and your stash capacity. Hopefully, you've scavenged enough shade tech to unlock everything you need. If you don't have enough shade tech, then you'll have to do what everyone does, which is to find them around the map. Let's examine the second row. This backpack icon represents your character's inventory. Each perk increases the capacity. Next, these perks increase the storage capacity of your stash. Be sure you've taken full advantage of these perks and any others that are in this menu. Each level within a category that you unlock gives you more. Extending the stash maximum. Recently, the developers have been increasing the capacity of our stash. If you don't own the Battle for Brooklyn DLC, I'd encourage you to get it. Among the new content, gear, and weapons, the DLC extends the stash capacity by 50 additional slots. I love this. Once you have this DLC, this extra capacity will become available to other stashes throughout the game. Battle for Brooklyn is a very affordable upgrade, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think you will too. Creating Mule characters. Another short-term quick fix, and I emphasize that this is a very short-term solution, is to create one or more Mule characters. The concept comes from the idea of these hardy creatures carrying things for us. In our case, we're not creating animals. Instead, we're creating a new agent or character to hold inventory for us. If you have only one character, you could create a second one, then move as much out of your stash as possible into the inventory space of the new character. The new character will have its own inventory backpack and a separate bag for gear and skill mods. Now, I emphasize that this is only for temporary relief. If you don't deal with your items, you're basically procrastinating and kicking the can down the road, so to speak. Sooner or later, and hopefully sooner, you'll have to determine what to deconstruct and what to keep. You'll need to form a discipline to help you decide what is practical and tactically valuable for your needs. It'll mean making tough choices. With so many videos available featuring a wide variety of attractive builds, it's easy to feel inspired to try each one out. I encourage you to spend time to understand the underlying build system so that build videos help to inspire creativity and not become crutches or replace your need to critically think for yourself. Who doesn't like the idea of a meta, magic, unkillable, god-tier build? The reality is that chasing after dreams cause players to lose focus. They spread themselves too thin. They're not good at any one or two particular builds. Before they've collected a full set of mediocre gear for those meta builds, they've already been enticed by a new video. Becoming more advanced requires focus. Steve Jobs once said, "Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things." He promoted the idea that focus is the ultimate competitive advantage. If this has been a struggle for you, don't worry, I've got you covered. But it's still going to take time to learn. I'll do my best to make things easier to understand, but you'll have to do your part too. The more important thing for you to take away from this video is to have a mindset for long-term growth that is tied to your strategic objectives. Ultimately, this is how I want you to think about gear, whether you're just starting out or you're an advanced player. Let's take a further look at long-term solutions. Suppose you're in the early stages of your journey, or you're returning to the game. In that case, you're reacting to every individual item. There are different colors, varieties, brands, and the like. How do you know what to keep? How do you know what is valuable? In this section, we'll cover smarter selectiveness, the library, and expertise. Just note that I will keep the library and expertise topics very brief. There are already a variety of great in-depth videos you can check out online. Smarter selectiveness. The heart of the game engine empowers three things, and they're color-coded. Red for offense, blue for defense, and yellow for utility. With red, you're generally focused on bullet-based damage, whether you're rocking an assault rifle, shotgun, an SMG, LMG, rifle, marksman rifle, or a pistol. With all things blue, you're generally pursuing being a tank or simply adding some armor cores to your build for increased survivability. And with yellow, you're running skill builds, and that can support healing, bringing turrets and drones into the fight, providing artillery support, and much more. Based on this, start thinking along these lines. What am I trying to accomplish? And what gear do I need to power and support my goals? What does that gear need to look like? If you don't start with a strategic goal, then every build video, every item you encounter can dilute your focus. If, instead, you have one or more clear goals in mind, then you'll know what attributes you need in your 6 gear slots to help power your builds. Then, you'll start developing an eye to assess if a gear is, say, good, better, or best for your needs. What's an example of what this thought process could look like? I'll keep this example very simple. Let's pretend I'm farming for good gear for DPS builds for raids. I'm mainly interested in gear with red cores because I fundamentally want to be lethal with bullet-based damage. I'm going to need as many maxed out weapon damage cores as my core attributes, and I'm likely to want maxed out crit chance and crit damage. There can be exceptions, but again, I'm keeping things very light and simple. Now that I've established my need, what does gear need to look like? In an ideal world, gear and weapons will drop looking like this. I'll just use a gear example. All attributes are at maximum. Also, they're exactly the attributes I want. Loot doesn't always drop looking like this. Think of each of these bars as slots. The question becomes, what's in those slots, and are they doing the right job to help you accomplish your goals? And if they're not at maximum, how hard are they performing? If one or more bars are not at maximum, how much performance do you need from the other gear on your body? And here's the kicker. How many rare resources will it cost you to push those bars up to maximum? Is it worth keeping? Or should you farm Countdown for something better? How good is good enough, and can I use it until I get something better? Those aren't always easy to answer, so maybe this will help you. I usually eyeball the attribute bars. Weapon damage here looks like it's a bit more than 3/4. It could take one or more rounds of costly optimization to push that bit by bit towards maximum. In its current state, it's usable. Critical hit damage here is barely half full. Think of driving around in a half-full tank. You're still somewhat okay, but you know this one gear piece is not at full potential. Critical hit chance is barely 1/4 of its potential in this slot. Not great at all. What can I do? Honestly, I would use this as a holdover until something better drops. I wouldn't waste valuable resources unless it was an exceptionally rare piece. Now, if I was in a rush or someone was in great need, I might quickly reconfigure one slot. Reconfiguration costs less resources than optimization. You can only reconfigure one attribute slot. After that, the others can't be reconfigured. So if you reconfigured weapon damage to maximum, consider how much getting these two to maximum will cost you. Resources are rare in Division 2. I may decide that I'm low on crit chance. Depending on how near or at maximum my other pieces are, simply reconfiguring crit chance with the maxed out crit chance from my library will help me overall. Here's another scenario. Here's an interesting piece. I have very poor weapon damage, but I have a maxed skill haste attribute here, and I have a very usable amount of headshot damage here. Should I keep this, crush this, in other words, deconstruct this, or add it to my library? I'll touch on the library in a moment, but just know that is where I've spent time and resources archiving max rolls of various attributes and talents. In this case, the weapon damage is too low to be optimized. Recalibration would max it out, as I have a max weapon damage for this gear type in my library. But then can I use skill haste and headshot damage? Skill haste reduces cooldown time so that skills can become available more quickly. But I need DPS. This has got to go. There's certainly a healthy amount of headshot damage, but I'm using an LMG, which is not the most accurate weapon for headshots. And I'm not a headshot guy. Here's the clincher. If I reconfigure either of these minor attributes, I'm stuck with this weapon damage core being abysmally poor. It would cost me many rounds of valuable resources to optimize this. It's just not worth it. Instead, what I'll do is make sure I sacrifice this piece to the library so that I can archive the skill haste. Once I do that, the piece will be gone, but the max rolled skill haste will live on and can be applied to future gear pieces. If I already have maximum skill haste for this gear type already, let's say it's a backpack, then I'll see if I can add this nearly maxed headshot damage to the library. If the library has that too, then I'll just give it to someone I don't like. Haha, just kidding. If I deconstruct this item, I'll gain a modest amount of resources that I can use down the road. 2 more scenarios, so bear with me. The community refers to this as a rainbow roll. It basically has attributes of all 3 colors. But what exactly is it good for? There's no one thing I can recalibrate or swap out to make the whole thing worth keeping. Suppose I were going for a tank build. In that case, I'd want the minor attributes to either enhance my survivability or improve my critical hit chance. For survivability, I'd prefer hazard protection, even explosive resistance, to help counter enemy artillery, grenade launchers, and bomber drones. Unless you have these attributes already in your library, this isn't worth keeping. Verdict: add to library or deconstruct for resources. One more scenario, and I saved the best for last. Actually, it's the worst. I can't believe this actually happens to new players in the community, and it drives me nuts. If you see gear like this, should you keep it? I wouldn't, and neither would you. And yet, some supposedly experienced players tell newcomers to start recalibrating and optimizing gear like this. Then this happens. Yup, they recalibrate it the best they can, and it sorta kinda doesn't look that much better. But wait, it gets worse. They tell the new player to apply expertise. So the poor new player spends valuable resources, and now the item looks like this. Now, I try to be nice in my videos, but this is some of the worst advice supposedly experienced players can tell newcomers whom I've met in the game. As you can understand, if the piece of gear has poor stats and also the wrong attributes, there's no point to add expertise to this, and by recalibrating the core attribute, they've restricted themselves to these attributes for this gear item. You may have misunderstood what you've been told and misapplied appropriate advice. After all, it's a pretty complex and layered game. On the other hand, some experienced players may have been well-intentioned, but they still have yet to understand the build system and how gear works. I've met people in the game who are beyond level 10,000. You'd think they're advanced, but they simply have a lot of time on their hands and rely on backup, but don't pull their own weight in combat. If you suspect you're getting bad advice from players, know that this is a long and difficult journey ahead of you, and you need the right friends with the right knowledge and experience to help you grow. Sadly, there are bad players, people who have made poor choices, and now they make the game more difficult for the community. I empathize if you've already spent precious resources, but you may consider finding a good clan to help you farm Countdown for gear with far better rolls and focus on 2 or 3 truly robust loadouts. You don't need a lot of builds to do exceptionally well in Division 2. Before I move on, I'd like to make a quick note about Countdown. This is similar to a raid. It's an 8-player mission with hunters at the beginning and end, and phases that can drop lots of loot. When you're in a safe place in Countdown, you can specify targeted loot and specify weapon or gear type, mods or brand sets, and gear sets. And the drops are insane. I want to make 3 quick points here. First, research before playing. Review some online tutorials before diving right in. You need to know best practices so you work with, not against, other players. Hunters will hack turrets, drones, seeker mines, and hives. Hacked skills will then attack your teammates. And if you're dealing with multiple hunters at the same time, your teammates will start going down left and right. Second, be sure you have at least 50 inventory spaces on your character and room for 20 mods in your mod bag. Ideally, have room for 60 to 70 inventory items. You won't have time to inspect each drop. It's very fast-paced. Third, join Countdown with friends to help you farm more gear. I typically go into the PlayStation Network's party chat and get friends into a group before initiating a countdown. In that way, we get to stick together. Also, there's no need to run Countdown beyond challenging difficulty. I'm told that the quality of the drops are similar. If you run Countdown 2 or 3 times, you can get very robust gear, depending on how many brands and gear sets you require. A great benefit is getting enough to spend at the Countdown vendor to purchase exotic caches. So don't worry about having to part ways with substandard gear. You can always farm for something better and have exotic items in the process. Okay, let's get back to the original topic. How do we become smarter and more selective? Here, I have absolutely no room on this character. I must begin clearing at least 50 slots so I can start running Countdown if a friend needs help farming for gear. This rifle has very good rolls. Damage to armor, or DTA, is not bad. It's an extra multiplier that applies to enemies with armor. I generally prefer damage to targets out of cover, or DTOC, but I'd be stuck with whatever talent it came with. Let's look down here at the talent. It's Vindictive. It requires enemies with a status effect. If I want buffs of extra crits, I must affect an enemy with a status effect, then kill him. It would complement the ongoing directive gear set, but I run LMGs on my ongoing builds. I can either run Optimist and continue living with damage to armor, or I can recalibrate the DTA out for DTOC and stay with Vindictive. That's a trade-off that's not ideal for me. Since I already have maxed attributes and the Vindictive talent for rifles in my library, I can either donate it to expertise or deconstruct it for resources. This Fenris has maxed weapon damage, but the other 2 attributes aren't what I want. I can reroll only one of them. If I needed something quick, I might swap out the headshot damage for crits, then keep farming for something better. I would not spend any resources optimizing this. This Petrov defense is somewhat usable. If I'm good with the attributes, I might recalibrate the 10.4% weapon damage with a max rolled 15% weapon damage from my library. It's a potential holdover until something better drops. I also wouldn't spend any resources optimizing this. With time, you'll be able to quickly eyeball efficiently. You'll know your own standards and which items will advance your goals or hold you back. The library is part of your long-term growth in Division 2. If you're in a position to recalibrate or swap out an attribute for a different one or one in better condition, that recalibration is based on what you have archived in your library. Over time, you will need to donate weapons and gear into your library to archive specific attributes and talents. Once you do that, the item will be gone, but the attribute will live on in the library that can be applied to future items, provided you have the means. Here, you see all the max rolls I've archived for core attributes, minor attributes, and talents. I've pulled them off suboptimal gear items, even those rainbow rolls I mentioned just now. Anytime I need to make a gear item host attributes I need, I have this collection of maximum stats. If I have enough resources, I can re-roll what I need. Items with poor stats can still be useful, as weapons, backpacks, and chest armor will have talents that can be archived, so don't deconstruct them too quickly. Named items with perfect versions of talents cannot be archived to the library, but keep those handy for what I'm about to cover next. It will require dedication and several months to build a robust library. This is a great way to clear your stash and inventory of oddball or imperfect items that have good stats that are worth adding to your library. Finally, expertise. I'm going to stay very high level, as there are many online videos already that cover proficiency and expertise in detail. To begin applying expertise to weapons, gear, and talents, items must first be proficient. There are 10 levels of proficiency. Increasing proficiency will not improve items in any way, but you have to get them to max proficiency first before you can begin leveling up expertise. And again, don't spend precious resources in inferior items. If your friends are still telling you to do that, then maybe they need to research the topic more themselves. Proficiency comes from use. You can speed things up by donating multiples of a particular item to increase its proficiency. What you donate can be crappy and inferior. So long as the game will accept the donation, it will count towards increasing proficiency. Once proficient at level 10, then you'll have to spend valuable resources for each level of expertise. And the higher you go, the more it will cost you. As of Year 7, Season 2, the devs have said they are capping expertise at level 30. So I'm kind of happy that there's an end to the grind. Here are 2 pro tips. First, don't go past expertise 12 if you don't want to begin spending exotic resources. And second, hold off on adding expertise to gear. I know that may sound shocking, but prioritize weapons and utility skills. Some expertise levels will increase damage output. You want that. With gear, the return on investment is feeble, so even if you have gear at level 30, a 30% gain on the base armor value of each armor piece can easily get obliterated by the enemy. 2 shots from a sniper or a sniper dog, and you'll go down. If you absolutely had to for some reason, I'd take expertise up to level 12 and go no further. Otherwise, I'm spending rare exotic resources to push that higher. The most powerful form of protection is physical cover, so long as you take cover and enemies aren't oxidizing you or shooting grenades in an arc to hit you on the head. Physical cover is your friend. Be sure to use it. Congratulations on making it this far in the video. I want to leave you with a few pro tips before I go. Let's take a look at them. First pro tip, audit your mods. If you've been filling your stash with everything you've collected, there's a chance that it includes gear mods. Players can easily forget they're in there because they're down here in the UI. Each gear mod takes up a space that can otherwise be used for a piece of gear or a weapon. It's good practice to audit them in your stash and on your character. Over on your character, mods have their own storage bag that's separate from your weapon and gear inventory. In both gear bag and stash, you can review items. The action is very similar. You can either view them as a grid to see the categories, or view them in list view, so you can quickly eyeball which are maxed or near maximum, and which are so-so, and which are inferior. Obviously, deconstruct the inferior ones to collect resources. If you have multiples of really solid ones, consider saving them for your second, third, and fourth characters. While some people say you only need 3, when you're in a dire situation in combat and you need to hot swap your gear individually, it's very difficult to do that, and swap out and swap in gear mods to make things optimal. It can be beneficial to have certain gear items have their own maxed mods to minimize swapping in the midst of battle. Right here, I can see a variety aren't even 2/3 of maximum. They're not the types of mods that I need. I've spent a lot of time in the game and generally can afford to be particular. But if you're starting out and need a particular mod, it might be helpful even though it's inferior. Better something than nothing, right? Hold on to it until a better one drops in the game, then deconstruct the inferior one for resources. Keep what's essential. Sometimes spectacular items will drop and they're too good to ignore. Hold on to it as a study piece. Try it out in the range at the base of ops. But be ready to let it go if it doesn't directly power something more important. Prioritization will become critical. Sort out which items are nice-to-haves and which are must-haves. There are many enticing build videos online. I'm not saying they're all bad. Some are actually very insightful. But not every build is a must-have. As I mentioned earlier, if you chase after too many meta or god-tier builds, you end up having things that are superior in their concept, but tactically inferior because of the challenges you may want to take on. Don't be afraid to let go of items with great rolls. There are many drops in your future. Third and final pro tip: turn your mules into fighters. By the time you're ready to turn your mule characters into fully equipped agents of the division, you'll be more discerning with weapons and gear. To maximize the weekly rewards of daily and weekly projects, raids, and incursions, advanced players will have similar builds on all 4 characters. They're not unequipping weapons and gear, moving them into the stash, and firing up their 2nd, 3rd, or 4th characters to access them and put the loadouts on. Each character is ready to go with builds and build variants so that players can be responsive to a variety of situations. By the time you're ready to do this, you'll be highly focused with builds that truly matter to you and your team. And the build system series I've provided in this channel will help you make optimal decisions. There you have it. It's a discipline that will require time to develop. As you can see with some of the scenes I showed you, I have a ton of excellent equipment in my inventory and stash, and I still have trouble letting go of some of them to make room. But I'm getting there too. Please like and share this video with your friends and clan members. As always, let me know how this guidance works out for you and post any questions that's on your mind.